Environment and Climate Change Canada is changing the way they alert the public about weather watches and warnings, and it's now in effect. Chief Meteorologist Natasha Ramsahai is here to break this all down, Tash, in its simplest form. We're talking about 3 alert levels. Break this down for us.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be, you're going to see your regular rainfall warnings and snowfall warnings, but now each of them is going to have a color attached to them, red, orange, or yellow. And this is all because we're moving towards, or Environment and Climate Change Canada is moving towards really kind of talking about the impacts that these warnings have, because a snowfall warning for 10 centimeters is going to have a very different impact on, if there's 50 centimeters forecast. And now you're taking a look at downtown Toronto. This also takes into account things like population, because 5 centimeters when there's millions of people in the middle of rush hour, timing is also going to be taken into effect. And is very different than, say, Thunder Bay getting 5 centimeters on a Sunday morning at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? So all of these things are going to be taken into account when deciding what color level to attach to each warning.
Okay, so I'm a member of the public, and I see these color warnings. How useful is this going to be for me? Is it a better system?
Yeah, I think once people get used to it initially, and it's happening now, so even on your phone, your warnings are coming out and it says red, thunderstorm, or orange snow squall watch. I think people know what red means. Red obviously is like very bad. It's the highest level, very dangerous conditions, and the impacts are expected to be extensive. When you see a yellow attached to something, it's the lowest end. There's still going to be impact, but it's going to also be the most common one that you see. I think the public may sometimes have a problem discerning between yellow and orange in terms of how much is this going to impact me day to day. However, I think people all know what red is, and the way that they're going to be coming up with this, Environment Canada, is it's a combination of confidence and impact. So the forecaster is going to say, all right, I have high confidence, there's going to be a high impact, and so what's going to happen is you're now going to be into that orange, right? So it's on this scale. This is what they're using to come up with the colors.
Okay, for you as Chief Meteorologist here and our full weather team, your responsibility is to communicate all of this to our viewers. So how's that going to look?
Yeah, so let's take a look at some examples, past examples. Let's start with the BC atmospheric river event that we had, okay? So this would fall under rainfall warning red. And the impacts, we're talking about major roads, highways washed out, vehicles washed away, major destruction, widespread outages, right? It's also taking into account like how long our power outage is going to last, right? And how long is the recovery going to be? This would be an example of a red. An orange, or another red, might be the Toronto rainfall that we had in 2013 when you had the GO train underwater, right? These are all things that last long. Let's take a look at freezing rain, okay? So freezing rain warnings, it's going to be very different than, say, this was the 98 ice storm, right, in eastern Canada and over to Quebec. And it was weeks, if not months, before people got power back. And so lengthy disruption would warrant a red. Versus, okay, we have a little bit of ice in the morning if you're driving in from Brampton and by 9 a.m. it's all melted. That would be a yellow. So again, we're taking into account things like utilities, how long they're going to be out, how much travel disruption are you going to have, societal recovery, right? How, like something like Hurricane Hazel that impacted Toronto, the remnants of that would be a very big red rainfall, right? Because rainfall warnings right now, anything over 50 millimeters, you get issued a rainfall warning. So a rainfall warning at 50 and a rainfall warning for 500 millimeters, they all look the same right now. So now if I tell you the 500 millimeters is going to be a red rainfall and the 50 is going to be a yellow, now you kind of have an idea of how this might impact you.
So for those watching from home, what will they see on their screens?
So it's going to look similar, but a little bit different, right? So right now, if you see a snow squall watch, we have snow squall watch and a legend that says snow squall watch. Here's what it's going to look like now. We're going to add a label. So for example, and these are happening today, this afternoon on Wednesday, snow squall watch is yellow versus a snow squall watch orange. And so right away, now you know that that area that's shaded, the orange is one level up. And so we're expecting slightly more extreme snow amounts and impacts, and it's my job to now explain what those impacts will be. Also, here's another example. We've got snowfall warnings and winter storm warnings to the north. These are yellow, and these ones are orange. And again, my job will be to explain what some of those impacts are and what the differences are. So you're going to see the little label on your warnings now when you watch us on City News.
Small changes, but really important. All right, Natasha Ramsahai, thank you as always.
Thank you.